Hi, and a very good afternoon to everyone. So, this is the continuation of the previous video we made that was on the vernier caliper. So, in this video, we're going to be dealing with the micrometer screw gauge. Okay, so this is an example of how questions based on the micrometer screw gauge will look like. And just like the previous video, I will first of all explain what the micrometer screw gauge is for and its uses. So the micrometer screw gauge is used to get even more accurate measurements of even smaller lengths, such as the diameter of a wire or the diameter of a small ball, or even the thickness of a piece of paper. So you can see the what we're measuring with the micrometer screw gauge is even smaller than what we measured with the vernier caliper, because for the vernier caliper, we use it to measure like the internal and external diameters of a tube. Now that is already very small, but we went even smaller by trying to measure the thickness of a piece of paper or the diameter of a wire. Okay. So the measuring accuracy of a micrometer screw gauge is 0.001 centimeter. So let me just write that down so that you can see the difference. So I'm just going to abbreviate the micrometer screw gauge by using mm. So sorry. So its my measuring accuracy is 0.001 centimeter. Now for the vernier caliper, which I'm just going to abbreviate by and use VC for, its own reading accuracy is 0.01 centimeter. So you can see that 0.001 centimeter is way tinier than the vernier caliper. So the micrometer screw gauge is composed of the anvil and the spindle. So when we put those two together, we call it the jaws of the micrometer screw gauge. Okay. So the micrometer screw gauge also has two scales. It's still the same as the vernier caliper. Still has the same name as the vernier caliper because its scales are the main scale and the vernier scale. So just like before, should I erase this? Let me leave that. Just like before, I will circle the main scale and the vernier scale. So let's circle the main scale in red. So this is the main scale. And the one in yellow is the vernier scale. So this is the vernier scale. I hope that's clear. So this is the main scale. This is the vernier scale. Now, how can we read this device? Let me just clear that off. So the main scale, let me zoom this in a bit. The main scale is this thing over here. Change it back to red. Is this over here. Now, let's actually number this. So this is 0. What's the next number after 0? 1. So our next number, which is the one up, is 1. Forgive my 1. 1. The next number after 1 is 2. So this is 0, 1, 2. Now these little dashes down here all represent the same number, which is 0.5. This one too is 0.5. And this one as well is 0.5. Just forget my writing. There we go. 0.5. Now, how do you count something like this? Let me use this. Now, this is 0, 1, 2. Now, 0.5. 0.5, then 1. Then 1 plus 0.5 times 1.5. So, 0. Now, this should have been, sorry, let me use a marker. Let me use a different color. So, we have the 1 down here. Since all of this represents 0.5, let me draw a line. So this down here, this one, would have been 0.5. Now 0 plus 0.5, 0.5. 0.5 to here is 1. So 1. Then 1 plus 0.5 will give you 1.5. So let me draw this down again. 1.5. Now 2 plus 0.5 will give you 2.5. So basically, the ones down are just like how you would see it in a meter rule, where you have big dashes, small dashes. The big dashes represent the whole number, the smaller dashes like 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.3, stuff like that. So this these two dashes together make up the main scale, just that this one is down, this one is up. So 0, 0 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. Okay. So if we're clear on that, let me just clean everything up. Ah, perfect. Now, let me zoom out. So now we've dealt with the main scale. We've dealt with how to um, count the main scale. 0, 0 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. Actually, let me just write down those numbers again. So we have 1, and then we have 2. Now this is 0 0.5 and another 0 0.5. You know what? Let me just clean that up. Just start. So these are 0.5. Now, how do we read the vernier scale? Because we've concluded that this is how to read the main scale. Now, how do we read the vernier scale? So basically, all of these dashes just represent 1. So 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Let me use a highlighter. So 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. I hope that's clear. Now, how do we read these two together? How do we read the micrometer screw gauge? So just like before, we will start with the mean scale. Mean scale. Now, how do we know the reading of our main scale? We stop at the point in which the dash stops. Like the last dash, we count to that end. We count to the end of the dashes that meet up with this vernier scale. Don't worry, we'll treat some other examples so you can better understand what I'm actually saying. So we have 0, 1, 2. Now this is not the last dash, this is the last dash here because these dashes are the same, just that they carry different numbers. This one is counting in ones, this one is counting in 0 0.5. So this one is like 0, 1, 2. But since we don't have another dash up, but we have one down, we count it together, so that is 2.5. So our main scale reading is 2.5. 2.5. Let me zoom this out a bit. And just as a disclaimer, I've completely forgot to write this out. We have millimeter and centimeter. So our reading is going to be in millimeter. Now what that basically means is that for the vernier scale, we have a 40, 45. So instead of writing 40, we would instead write 0.40 millimeter. I wonder if that's clear. So we're going to be reading it in millimeter. Now then the next one is, okay, so that means our main scale is in millimeter. Now let's read our vernier scale. So our vernier scale, we don't read all the way to the top here. We don't stop at the last number. Instead, we stop at the point in which one of the vernier scale's lines is connecting with the main scale baseline. So we're going to start counting or stop counting at this point because this is the line that connects with the main scale. So let's count it together. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, like it's written here, 36, 37, 38. So this is where we're going to stop at. Let me write that out as well. So this is number 38. So let's write that down. And your scale is 0.38 millimeter. Now to get the final one, or the final answer, just do it exactly the same way we did our vernier scale or vernier caliper reading. So we say main plus, sorry, vernier will give you 2.5 plus 0.38, and then our final answer should be um, 2.88. So 2.88 millimeter. That's our final answer for this question. And let's take a look at another one. Okay, now this one is a lot longer. Now let's read it. Now let's first number our main scale, and yes, the reading is still going to be done in millimeter. In fact, all the questions are going to be done in millimeter. Okay, so let's number it. Let me choose a different color. Okay, let's choose one, black rather. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm not going to number the ones down, since we should already know that each small line beneath the upper line is 0.5. So if we were to count it from the beginning, that would be 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and so on and so forth. But we just want to read the main scale, so we're just going to go straight to the last one, which is 7. And there's also a mini dash beneath it, so that is 7.5. Our main scale reading is 7.5. So I'll just write that there. Main 7.5 millimeter. Okay. Now we need to read our vernier scale. What line does the vernier scale lines, or which one of these lines connects with the main scale baseline? And I'll give you 5 seconds to reason that. Okay, so the answer is this line. This is the line that connects or touches with the main scale line. This line. This line. So we're going to count from 20 to this point. Now let's count. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So our vernier scale reading is going to be 24. So we'll also write that down. Vernier 0.24 millimeter. Don't forget, it's not 24, it's 0.24 millimeter. Okay. Now, if we wanted to get the final answer or final reading, we are going to add the two together. So that is 7.5 plus 0.24. That would give you 7.74 millimeter. Okay, now on to our final question. Okay, so this question was requested that the units be in millimeter, but since we haven't treated or written any of the answers in centimeter, I will also include the answer to this reading, or the answer to this question, to be in centimeter as well. So let's first read the mean scale like we did previously. Okay, so this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that means the main scale reading is going to be 16 millimeter. And in case you didn't notice, there are no uh, um, mini dashes below it. So we're not going to assume anything. We're just going to write the main scale reading to be 16 millimeter. So let's write that out here. Main 16 millimeter. Yeah. Now, our next thing to read is what? The vernier scale. So, um, what dash connects with the main scale dash? I'll give you about 3 seconds to actually think about it. Okay, so the answer is this dash. Now let's try to read it together. This is going to be 29, but since we were given this as 30, let's count from here. 30, 31, 32. So that means our vernier scale is going to be 32. 32. Now, we're going to say our vernier scale reading is 32 millimeter. Vernier, 32 millimeter. There. So our final answer in millimeter is going to be, oh sorry, not 32 millimeter. See, it's 0.32 millimeter. So our final reading would be 16.32 millimeter. Now, what if we wanted to read it in centimeter? Now, this would no longer be 16 millimeter, or yes, 16 millimeter. It's now going to be, let me put them side by side so you can understand it. It's now going to be 0.16 centimeter. Yeah. And our vernier would no longer be 0.32 millimeter. Sorry. Our vernier will no longer be 0.32 millimeter. Instead, it's going to be 0.032 centimeter. And then our final answer would have been a crazy answer. It would have been 1 0.16 plus 0.032 would have given you 0.192 centimeter. So that's basically how to read the micrometer screw gauge and the vernier caliper. Do subscribe to learn more. Leave a like, leave a comment on whatever it is you don't understand, and I will reply. Thank you.